Welcome to Parenting and Presence. Today with us we have Gomathi Sivasankaran, who is a change management specialist and an artist. Gomathi Sivasankaran is going to share with us her journey in change management, also as an artist, and why art is important for human life, right from children to adults. Welcome to the show, Gomathi Sivasankaran.
Thank you very much, Kritika. This is a wonderful experience. I'm looking forward to your questions.
Thank you so much for joining again. Can you share about your journey?
A little bit about me, of course. There's a lot of stories when you talk to people. I'll try to summarize as short as possible. I have lived the life of traveling and working in different countries. Indian by origin, Tamilian, and the lifestyle that I have had, it's called what you call a professional lifestyle, completely, 8 to 4 or 9 to 5, busy lifestyle for many, many years, working for international companies, traveling and working abroad. This also brought me to various other industries because I started my career in finance, and finance is something that is, you know, the skills can be used in various industries. So it was definitely helping me to build a career inside various industries. For example, it could be shared services, pharmaceuticals, banking sector, manufacturing, or so. And this life travel had its own toll, a good learning, definitely, but it's also had its own toll. Everywhere I went, I was involved in some projects or the other, and that is where the understanding of the word change came. And also, it made me think long and think deep into what exactly have we studied in our past and how much is it helping in the present. Luckily for me, my parents had given me a lot of, variables to work with, not just learnings coming from the school or college per se. So everything put together somehow helped me develop and sustain in spite of the work pressure and such. And then I realized that this is something more deeper I have to work on and specialize into. And that's how I ended up being a change professional. And that's what I do. I use art and yoga as tools to change. However, it shouldn't be the case, but that's exactly what we are going to discuss, I guess, when it comes to your, program here.
Thank you so much for introducing yourself. You had been in the corporate profile and you had your master's in one of the biggest B schools in Europe. And then you landed up working with art. I actually wanted this to come as a last question because a lot of families who get into alternative education have this fear of change management. They are in the corporate lifestyle and they are worried how they would survive with their passion or how they could, survive as a single income family. So could you please share about your journey on how it happened and how you landed up in art?
Yeah, the point is, art has been a part of our family all the time. I wouldn't say my parents are artists or such, but my mom was definitely a creative professional and she wanted to be a professional musician, but she couldn't. Those period of time we're talking about is very difficult for her to either we manage her career or my father's career. So the choice that we make traditionally. So she never got to go that far, but the creativity was there in the family. My dad has been an engineer, and of course, living with blueprints. That's how I grew up. I have scribbled on blueprints. So art has been a part of, it's like a daily dosage of food. That's simple. Given that, there is one thing I wanted to really establish here is that our educational system, meaning you and I are Indian, so I'm just taking it back to our own educational system that is called Gurukul system. And Gurukul system had art as the base. Okay. So we never went to learn lessons. We went to learn art. There are 64 forms of art. It could be medicine, it could be pottery, it could be learning a defense mechanism like, Kadari Paitru. It could be dance, it could be mathematics. It's all art. So there is only one thing that's called art, and art had 64 divisions. This is something my mom has told me. And I used to ask, then why are we studying these subjects? But I eventually found out why. Yeah. So the logic behind our education system was very simple. Knowledge and intuition have to go hand in hand. For anything to happen, you want to study science, mathematics, genealogy, whatever you want to study, this will be the base that you use your knowledge and intuition, that is creativity, as two pairs of eyes. Yeah, the left and the right hemisphere of the brain has to be in balance. This is the basic requirement of our education system. Of course, this created leaders. It was a problem. For who? For those who came to rule us over. Yeah, it was a little uncomfortable. They wanted people to listen to you without asking any questions, without challenging anything, and do only the service. So you should learn everything, all the tips and tricks, all the techniques, but learn not to ask too many questions, get not too much creative. How can that happen? Let's separate the left and the right brain. So let's make something called knowledge, and it has to work without creativity. And let's create something called creativity. If at all you need, we will call it extracurricular activities. How convenient. So this is exactly where the drift has happened, and we all are actually, unfortunately, products of this. Um, Luckily for me, because of my parents and the lifestyle we had, art was the only way I could thrive. If something did not work with the structure in where I'm thriving as a student or even as a professional, I would come back and draw my imagination. What do I really want in the team to work, for example? Yeah. What do I really want? And when I draw, then I knew what should be the result. Then I went back and converted that language, because art is an universal language, by the way. I converted into the simple terms that people can understand. Okay, this is what I want, meaning we should do 10 steps or 20 steps or whatever, and that's how we can reach there. So that's how I was able to survive even as a professional. So I thought, if I am using that as my lifeblood, then why don't I just tell people that openly? That's where I ended up here. So that's the reason behind it. And even in fact, you mentioned the MBA from Copenhagen Business School. At that point, I needed an MBA because I needed to know how I can use this and connect this. I needed the management language so I can learn how to convert this creative language. Unfortunately, it should be the same in the world that we should have been in, but it is not. But how do I connect the dots? For that, I needed some help. And I needed another level of leadership structure. And that's exactly why I did. So even when I did it, I wouldn't say I knew what I wanted to do. I was not that smart. But definitely, the bigger picture was, someday I need to make, or not make, bring back art as mainstream. Simple goal.
That's wonderful, Gomati, to hear your journey on why you chose art and why you wanted to connect management and art. I think this is a wonderful answer for a lot of people who ask alternative schoolers like us on what is your problem with the conservative education, because that is one question that all the alternative education following families have been asked. And I think you gave a very simple, smart, straightforward answer to make people understand how was our educational system, how it got manipulated or turned. We can use good adjectives or
Of course.
negative adjectives, but at the end, this is what has happened. And thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And now coming to the highlight question, how do you use management and art together? Can you share your tricks?
Okay. I thought of, this is a very interesting question, and I can definitely give a lot of examples verbally, and it will be nice. But I thought I will take some risk and again use art even for this question. So here I have a picture. I will not give any name. Even for the viewers, I would request you to press the pause button a bit and take a look at it. Think of any word or any sentence that comes to your mind and write it down even before we go back to it. And Kritika, I think you can also, you might have seen this before. So take a moment and then you can say what you feel like about this.
If you ask me, not technically, I would call it as a geometrical pattern that
Mhm.
involves a lot of measurements and precision.
Okay. I'm just going to note down the keywords that you used. Yeah. So you say that it's a geometrical pattern.
Yes, with a lot of precision.
So, Kritika, the four keywords that you used: geometrical pattern, precision, and measurements. So, from these four, if I have to look back into the management or the project management experience that I've had, this is exactly what I am also trying to achieve in my daily work as a project manager. So we look for a pattern to do something, scope something in a way that we can repeat that precisely the same in a structural manner and measurable manner. Results must be measurable for us. So, for example, if we take that you're going to make a mobile phone, this is going to be your product. Can you make different sizes? Maybe yes, but you will restrict the number of options that you want to provide your customer. So you will have to be precise into the measurements, geometrical patterns, and so on, isn't it? So you need all these tools any which ways. And what you see right now is a form that is teaching you how to create. We can call it art, we can call it geometry, you can call it a diagram, any name that you want to give. It's all coming back to a learning from which you pick up how to repeat something accurately and do it in a way that it will be in alignment. It looks fairly good enough for somebody to see. Is that a fair um, understanding at this level, Kritika? What do you feel?
Yes, Gomati, I understand it.
So what I showed is an art. Yeah. But with that, I can explain something with the words that you gave me. This will resonate even better in the mind, not just the mind, the subconscious mind. So it's easier for you to remember certain things because you are already connected, involved, and engaged. What exactly do we want in a professional atmosphere? We want people to be connected, invested in our idea. When I'm saying today I want to make a mobile, come, let's join, you should also feel the motivation to create something equally to be a part of my business, isn't it? So that is the main requirement, I would say. So what you saw, by the way, is not something that I create. Of course, I am working on it. It's work in progress. Any guesses what it is?
It's from Hindu mythology. A Sri Chakra.
Correct. You got it right. It is Sri Chakra. So Sri Chakra is a good example of all these things. And the way we were taught, so I'm going to take you through this again. Yeah. The way we were taught is to use art as the single dimension. And under that tower of art, we had 64 different forms. So if you want to be a surgeon, you were in art, you learned how to understand the body, each and every mechanism inside the body, artistically, how to cut different parts of the body and get inside to do the surgery that you're supposed to do. Simple. So that's how you learn. And if you want to learn pottery, again, you learned the art of understanding how the mud, the clay, and all these elements work, and how what is the right precision, right timing to bring that into some shape. Simple. So this is the reason. Anything else that you want to ask before I want to go back to this?
I think you have cleared it so well. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I am going to take you again through this journey of Sri Chakra to help explain whatever I can, and whatever subjects you can refer to, it's up to you. And you can make a list of how many subjects we are discussing in this one single podcast. Okay. So let's do the screen share again. Okay. So this is still work in progress. I'm still trying to learn how to work with it. And this is what I did a couple of days ago. And I am still, on the left hand side, you see what I'm working on because it's still dirty. It's first layer. And it's got these, pencil marks, which I have to get rid of. So I'm still working on it. On the right hand side is, I think it's one of the most precise forms that I could find on the internet. It's from another web shop. So this is what we are going to look at, and we want to understand it from the point of view of parenting also today. Um, and we are going to go into this journey. So it's a beautiful journey always to go into a mathematical, geometrical form. Yeah. So
Of
we
course.
are going to get started with usually the way we look at things is that from the outer to the inner, or from the inner to the outer. Let's start with the outer to the inner this time, and let's connect things, connect the dots. And this is how we learn. So we can not just imagine, but always have concepts sitting in the subconscious mind. Once it goes into the mind, it should always stay with you. So let's make a simple attempt of that today. So I have now given some explanations on this side with the picture. So we are starting with this chakra has got 9 positions, 9 symmetries, we can say, like you mentioned, Kritika, the geometrical patterns. And the first one we start with is the outer layer, the outer ring, that is the square kind of, it's called a gate. You can call it a gate. And you will see that it's got 3 lines, or depending upon how it is, structured, usually it's 3 or 4 lines, because usually it has to have the very important 3 lines, or gates representing what is called bhupura, the space. The next 3 are the concentric circles, and this refers to, and it has different meanings. We will take a couple of meanings for today's session. Okay, this takes a meaning of past, present, and future. Time. We are talking about parenting in this session, isn't it, Kritika? How can we imagine this in the life of a woman that is giving birth to a baby? So you need to give a space in your womb and time first. So can we call these gates as your own womb? Imagine that you are bringing the child into the world. Something is getting created. So that's the beauty of this, that you can always refer to these pictures and have your own meaning out of it. So I'm just going to take you through this journey from the perspective of parenting and how a child can learn certain things from us. So in this space and time, in the months that you are pregnant with your child, whatever you do affects your child, plus or minus. Do you agree?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So you're giving the space and time so that the child can grow. And whatever you eat, the child eats. Whatever you consume, whatever you watch, whatever positivities or negativities you go through, the child also goes through. So before even you bring a human being into the world, the human being, the unit, we can say, is getting ready for what is coming up. Once the child is out, and that is where, of course, we are told what to do. Most of us help us to tell what to do. And eventually, we put the child in a school and we follow certain rules and regulations of the society. It's not a mistake. We all do that. I have been a product of that. You also are a product of that. I'm sure. So instead of that, if we think of how the child is going to grow, we need to understand the 16 petals that are coming up next. What are these? Karmendriyas, Jnanendriyas, and Mahabhutas. Mouth, hands, feet, genitals, rectum, eyes, ears, skin, tongue, nose, the Jnanendriyas. And the Mahabhutas, air, water, earth, wind, and sky. And most importantly, the mind, 16 lotus petals. How beautifully the second door, yeah, portal. So you can call it it's for self-realization. This is a tool for meditation or such. But you can also use it to understand now your next step as a parent in the life of your kid is to make sure that all these indriyas, experiential learnings, are attained correctly. Doesn't matter which school you want to put the kid in. Doesn't matter what kind of learning you want to give. Make sure these 16 can be in the balance. And I think this is something at least we can make sure. What do you feel about this, Kritika?
Of course, I 100% agree with it because I am into Steiner pedagogy, Walter Steiner in European, and he says the same thing. And
Yes.
all his pedagogical thing, almost all the Indian teachers, I would say, they are relating it with our Vedas and they give the Vedic names to it, and we are learning it so I can resonate to it 100% without any doubt. Yeah.
Yeah. Even before going into the details of the next triangles or whatever, at this stage itself, parents, you will see that most of the kids that are growing up with a mobile in the hand or iPad in the hand, their movements are restricted. Look at that. The karmendriyas, hands and feet, yeah, are restricted to the level that they need to be playing, they need to be running, rolling and doing things. But look at the restrictions that we have accidentally put in, and the mouth, the taste, what kind of food are we trying to give? That's another big story. We can take another podcast into it. And Jnanendriyas, what are they seeing? What are they hearing? What are they feeling? Are they connected to the ether, earth, water, wind, sky? Are they connected to the nature? I think even at this stage, the mistake happens, knowingly or unknowingly. Nobody wants his or her child to be, somebody going into a negative, lifestyle or a pattern. Nobody wants that geometrical pattern. I think we all know what we want. We all want that all these are in good balance. Any education system that we try to give, if or any food that you're trying to give, any experiential learning that you're trying to give, the least thing, first duty after bringing the child into the earth is that we make sure that the child is able to use all these elements, understand these elements, respect these elements. That itself is more than enough. The rest will follow through. Whichever career path they go into, they will be a success if we can manage this.
I agree with you completely.
Yeah. And this is the interpretation that I am taking from the Sri Yantra. This is also, of course, people might say that there are different meanings and other things. Definitely, I agree with it. And I have, from the learnings of Bhagavad Gita, I would say that each time you take a book, you read the same book, you will feel that you have learned something new out of it the second time you go into. The same thing happens with art or geometrical patterns. This time I was looking at it and I was looking at your questions, Kritika, and I thought it is the same. And this is parenting. This is exactly what it could be. So look at each and every element, both intuitively, creatively, and also using your past knowledge, present knowledge, whatever it is. This is the balance that is needed, and that has to start from us as parents or teachers before we want to inculcate that in our child. And of course, I'm not going to go into great detail, but just to tell you the next level of petals. This is also called Walk Devis in some parts of India. We call it in Tamil tradition. We call it Ashtalakshmi also. Adi Lakshmi, Dhanya Lakshmi, Dhairya Lakshmi, Dhana Lakshmi, Gaja Lakshmi, Vijaya Lakshmi, Vidya Lakshmi, Santana Lakshmi. These are all representation of a goddess. We can say we pray to them. But what are we praying to? The source energy is Adi Lakshmi. Dhanya Lakshmi is the wealth that is given in terms of, food and richness of whatever you can have. Yeah. That kind of rich. Dhairya Lakshmi is the courage that one needs. Dhanam is the wealth that one needs. Gaja Lakshmi is also the, what do you call, the internal, the propensity, strongest propensity to be stable. Vijaya Lakshmi, success. Vidya Lakshmi, education. And Santana Lakshmi stands for progeny. So what are we wanting that our child has? Gets all these. And this is also a place where there is a lot of agitation because the child is growing up. He or she is forming an identity. And he or she is also trying, with or without your help, to attain all these 8 elements or most of these 8 elements. How do you feel about this, Kritika?
Yes, it is always, I think it is the battle between the parents and the children to have an idea of what energy they want and what energy the parents are giving and
Yeah.
what are all the energies that are mutual. Yeah, I agree.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So now they are growing up. So they have their own identity and they are trying to build it. And it's going to be a bit of, sankarshana, sankshobana. So this is going to be the very important 8 petals where they are figuring out who they are.
As parents, this 8 petals is the biggest battle we are fighting with our children.
Yes.
And most of the times, we decide which which petal they should give importance to.
Yes.
Most of the times, in the modern parenting or in the generations we were raised, the education system and the society, it forced which one you should choose. And especially when it comes to Vidya, the education,
Yes.
somebody would be interested very much in art, somebody would be interested in mathematics. But when the society says that now the need is for having a lot of doctors, the mathematician just, takes away. He just, removes out of it heart the mathematic part, and without any interest, he studies medicine and he practices medicine. And the age of 50 or 60, now he is struggling, telling that this was not my passion. I don't know what to do after 10 years. I think the balance in understanding these 8 petals is like very important for all of us. As you said, we can connect it with parenting and self development and management and everything. But this, I think, we have to have a clarity on what we want. If we have the clarity, we can very much give it to our children. That is what I wanted
Totally.
to add up here. Yeah.
Perfect. I think you got it spot on. The moment parents realize that the focus should be on the 16 petals and the next level of 8 petals, doesn't matter what subject your child is studying, you will just check it not because is it going to make a lot of money? Is it going to give him a stable career? Don't ask these questions. Of course, they are important. I'm not saying they are not important, but think from these angles. Is he or she going to have a balanced life with all this? because of the persona he or she is? That is the most important question. The moment you ask the question and you know the answer for your child, which will be exclusive because we cannot predict. Yeah, each child is unique. The moment you have the answer, then the rest of it, because these are the areas that a parent will be involved. The 16 petals and the 8 petals is where the parents are involved. And the next journey is the hardest part, and they will have to do that. They are already young or adults, so to say. So when they are not happy, they are not able to reach anywhere, they'll come back and tell you, why did you make me choose this career? Why did you make me go there? Why did you make me do this? This argument is happening because the 16 petal and the 8 petals were not taken care of properly.
Absolutely. I
Yeah,
agree. Yeah.
yeah. Because the next journey is it's a bit of it's a lonely journey for every soul. Yeah. So the next journey will be the 14. I think it's marked in green color. 14 triangles outward pointing. That is, all the goodness and abundance. And where do you think it will come from? It will not jump from another geometrical promotion. It has to jump only from inside, meaning it has to come from these 16 petals and the 8 petals. When it is all in balance, it will happen. The symmetry will happen perfectly in life. Yeah. And then the vital forces will be in action. The next 10 outer middle triangles. I'm not going into the details because they also mean much more into the internal life. And that could be very unique pattern for each and every human being. That's exactly it. And you see, there are 10 outer middle petals and then the 10 inner middle triangles. These are going to be even in a way highly difficult to go through. Why? So this is called, this one, the inner middle triangle is called the Rakshakara. It's about protection. So how you are not going to be there in that journey as a parent, unfortunately. You may be there, but you might not be an active part of it. So the child that is grown now into an adult has to learn how to absorb the energies of protection. Yeah. So these 10 inner middle triangles represent protection. 8 innermost triangles, the little ones there, Roga hara. Rogam is disease. Of course, when we grow, there are also diseases that grow along with us. Yeah, they also grow old one day. So in diseases, we'll have to make peace with that, or we have to learn how to come across that journey. Isn't it?
Absolutely.
We think career is different and the personal life is very different. And health problems have nothing to do with the career. That is exactly the problem is this triangles will be in trouble. The little triangles there, center point will be in trouble because maybe they have listened to you, maybe they have followed everything to the T and wanting to choose the career that you had asked them to, done everything in the right spot, but something did not click right because their creative energies and the knowledge are not in alignment. They have never been in balance. Imbalance for a longer period of time, where will it hit? Health. And the
Both the
Roga
physical
Hara,
and the emotional health.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. So it will attack one place or the other if that is not protected. Yeah. So we have to focus on that. And how do we focus? We cannot focus on all these without a proper foundation outside. Can we?
No.
No. Ultimately, the downward facing triangle, points to the single bindu there, and that is Sarva Siddhi Prada is that single triangle, single one pointed focus. Because they have conquered over what all they have conquered over. They have conquered over all the challenges. They have conquered over they have built a wall of protection, psychological, physical protection. They have protected themselves against diseases. Now they are in full energy, fully focused, fully, and we tell children, can you focus? Without all this foundation, that's unfair, I think.
Absolutely.
Mm. And then what happens? When you fully focus, everything else is in balance. When you fully focus, what we discussed in the start, knowledge and intuition integrate. We call it Shiva Shakti in Hindu, um, uh, Hinduism or Sanatana Dharma. You can, think of it as just simple knowledge and intuition, creativity integrate. There is the balance, and that can happen. Anything else before I stop this presentation?
No, Gomati, I think you have given a very beautiful connection between a very simple triangle drawing, which was, upgraded to a colorful Sri Yantra, or we can even call it as a geometrical pattern with so much of intuitive things involved. And if at all at one point when there is a small change in the precision, it would not look like this. So, if it is for a diagram like this, and when we could resonate it with parenting and whatever fields we could, then we have to understand how mindful and how conscious we should be in doing every single thing. Life is to have fun, but we have to be consciously taking every single step so we don't regret after having that fun. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. It was wonderful.
Yeah, this is something, even in the spiritual world, when people give you this, they give you and say that you can pray on this, but we don't know what to pray on also. And sometimes, when you have health problems, they will tell you these triangles are no very important. Look at that and pray. With or without knowledge, it's okay. I mean, these things have been created for a purpose to give some kind of knowledge sharing in a small packet. Look at this,
Absolutely.
what they have. They have actually explained a life journey and millions of life journeys using a simple picture. And this is ingenuity. That's what we need to hone into. If you look at anything from the point of different aspect and say, oh, this is maths, it's only maths. Oh, it's science, it's only science. No, look at it as complete art form. Then you will be able to see all the angles. And I would definitely believe, I want to believe that I only scratched the surface of it, because there is more to it. There are certain things we cannot explain, but this is also a kind of knowledge that has been intelligence, I would say, that's been passed on to us, that we can use it in different dimensions, any dimension that you want. I hope I have
True.
answered that.
Yes, you did have answered that in a very elaborate and also in a layman's term that every one of us who have not heard about Sri Yantra could also resonate and understand it. Thank you so much for doing that. To be continued in the next part.